I need to tell you something, and I need you to listen carefully, because the mistake I made in my life didn't look like a mistake at all. In fact, most people thought I was doing everything right. I was careful with my money, careful with my decisions, careful with my words, careful with my dreams. I never took big risks, never made loud mistakes, never embarrassed myself in public. From the outside, my life looked stable, respectable, safe. But I'm 81 years old now, and when you sit where I'm sitting, when most of your life is already behind you, you begin to notice something strange. The biggest regrets in your life are not the stupid things you did. They are the things you were too careful to do. The chances you didn't take, the words you didn't say, the life you quietly postponed because you thought you had more time. And that is the most dangerous lie a careful person can believe. Let me tell you how it started for me. It started when I was a boy. My father used to say something to me over and over again: play it safe. He didn't mean any harm by it. In fact, he thought he was protecting me. My father had lived a hard life. He worked the same factory job for almost 40 years. Same machine, same noise, same routine. And every evening he came home exhausted, hands rough, shoulders heavy. One night, I asked him a question. I was maybe 16 years old. I said, "Dad, did you ever want to do something else?" He didn't answer right away. He just stared at the floor for a moment. Then he said something I didn't understand back then. He said, "Son, wanting things is dangerous." At the time, I thought he was giving me wisdom. Now I realize he was giving me fear. And without noticing it, I built my entire life around that sentence. So, I became the careful one. You know the type. The one who never makes trouble, never takes the strange road, never jumps before checking the ground 10 times. In school, I didn't start fights. I didn't chase crazy dreams. I picked the practical path every single time. When my friends talked about starting businesses, I chose the stable job. When someone suggested traveling the world, I said, maybe later. When I fell in love with a woman in my 20s, I almost told her how I felt. Almost. But careful people live in the land of almost. Almost starting the business. Almost taking the trip. Almost saying the words. And the dangerous thing about almost is that it feels responsible. It feels mature. It feels smart. But what it really is fear wearing a very respectable mask. By the time I was 30, my life looked perfect on paper. Steady job, small house, reliable routine. People would look at me and say, "William has his life together." And in a way, they were right. Every decision I made was logical. Safe investments, predictable career, no crazy risks. I told myself that was maturity. That was responsibility. But here's the strange thing about living carefully. Your life becomes very quiet. Not peaceful, quiet. No big failures, but also no big stories. Years start to blur together. Monday becomes Friday. January becomes December. And one day, you wake up and realize you've been living the same year over and over again. The first crack in that careful life came when I was 37. It was a Tuesday morning. Nothing dramatic. No storm, no accident, no warning. Just a phone call. An old friend from college had died. His name was Daniel. Now, Daniel was the opposite of me. He was reckless, loud, always chasing something new. He started 3 businesses and failed at 2 of them. He traveled to places I couldn't even pronounce. He changed careers twice before he turned 30. Honestly, I used to think he was irresponsible.
But when I heard the news that morning, the strange thought that crossed my mind was this: Daniel lived more life in 36 years than I had in almost 40. And that thought stayed with me, long after the phone call ended. After Daniel's death, I began to notice the small choices I had ignored for decades. I realized I had been trading life itself for comfort. Every cautious decision, every safe path had cost me something I couldn't measure at the time. I had missed dinners with friends, I had skipped trips I wanted to take, I had stayed late at work while moments with my family disappeared like sand through my fingers. And the worst part? I didn't even notice it while it was happening. I had been living in a bubble, thinking I was smart, thinking I was responsible, but really I had been hiding from life. And that's when the question hit me. What is the point of living carefully if living carefully means never truly living at all? The change didn't happen overnight. It started small, almost invisible. I began saying yes to things I normally would have declined. A friend invited me on a short trip to the countryside. I went. A colleague suggested a new project outside my comfort zone. I accepted. I even spoke my mind in a meeting for the first time in years. And each time I felt something awaken inside me. It was a feeling I hadn't realized I'd lost. Excitement, curiosity, the simple joy of knowing I was alive. And the more I dared to step outside my careful life, the more I realized life rewards those who risk, who try, who speak, who act, even if they fail, because failure is better than never feeling at all. By the time I was 50, I understood something crucial. Life doesn't wait for the careful. It doesn't reward caution. It rewards courage. Not the kind you see in movies, fighting dragons or climbing mountains, but the quiet courage of living fully, even when the outcome is uncertain. I started making choices that terrified me. I reconnected with old friends I had ignored. I took a weekend trip to Italy just like I always dreamed. I told my wife how much I appreciated her, even when it felt awkward. And each time I acted, I realized something incredible. The fear I thought was keeping me safe was the very thing holding me back. I had spent decades hiding behind it, decades postponing the life I could have had. And suddenly I understood. It's never too late unless you choose to wait forever.
And now, looking back, I finally see it clearly. All those years I lived carefully, too carefully. I missed life itself. The moments I thought I was protecting, I was stealing. The laughter I didn't join, the adventures I didn't take, the love I didn't fully give. I thought life was about being safe, being prepared, being smart. But life isn't about surviving. Life is about showing up. Even if it's messy, even if it scares you, even if people don't understand. The truth is, the careful life I built, it was a life half lived. And every choice I didn't make, every risk I didn't take, was a gift I never gave to myself. You see, the danger of living too carefully is not failure. It's regret, the kind that sits quietly at the edge of your heart and whispers what could have been. So what's left after a life lived too carefully? The truth I want you to take with you. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You don't need to wait until you feel ready. Life is happening right now, and it will keep happening whether you join it or not. Say the words you've held back. Take the chances you've postponed. Love fully. Laugh loudly. Travel. Fail. Rise. Because the careful life, the one I built, it wasn't safe. It was small. It was half-lived. And I don't want that for you. So today, decide. Decide to live a little messy. Decide to take a risk. Decide to choose presence over perfection, because the biggest danger is not failure, it's regret. Don't let it sit quietly at the edge of your heart. Show up. Start now. Your life is waiting.